All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move into keeping the main thing this week. And for our topic, I wanted to talk about, boom, man is made in the image of God, correct? We
Right,
find that in
right,
Scripture. Well, what
right.
is the evidence for that? And that's what we're going to discuss. So I want to take you guys straight to the Scripture that we're going to reference this week, and that's going to be Genesis 1:26
Oh my
through
goodness. Can you get
28.
that larger so people can read it?
I mean, sure, I'll work on that. Thanks for
Okay,
thanks for
okay.
pointing that out. But anyway, so uh,
Well,
again,
we're gonna quote
this
it.
is
Is like, oh, what is?
guys, this is coming from BibleGateway.com, which is what I use to grab our references. Great resource. Go out, use it. It'll really elevate your guys' reading of the Scripture. So beginning in verse
Absolutely.
26, it says, "And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created
Created he
created he
them.
them. I don't know who needs to hear that, but male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So that's our scripture reference for this week. Man is created in the image of God. We are made in his image, in his very likeness. He created us. In fact, if I was to read scripture from a little bit before that, man is the only creation during the creation story where God actually physically bends down and uses his hands. It says that he formed man out of the dust of the earth and then breathed into his
Right.
nostrils the breath of life. We are fearfully and wonderfully made, the psalmist says
Mm-hmm.
about us, in the image of God, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what's the evidence of that? I know
Well,
I have my thing that I want to point out, but I'm going to throw
all
it
right.
over to you first, so that you can
Oh,
give
I
yours.
was wanting to hear. I was wanting to hear what you had to
All
say.
right. So yeah.
Come on, young
All
man.
right.
Let's
All right.
let me have it.
Sure. So in the very in the very vein of God creating mankind, right? What I was just pointing out, that he actually formed him out of the dust of the earth, that he created the entire creation story. God imagines things and, let there be light. And we see God moving through. And creation story is one of my absolute favorites to go back and read over and over again, because it's one of those where it's like, yeah, it. We all kind of fundamentally know it. It's like, yeah, God created the world 7 days. Yeah, got it, right? But it's like I discover something new every time that I go through that scripture. And in
All
the
right.
same vein of God taking ideas and making them, taking them from incorporeal to corporeal, taking something out of nothing and making something. Mankind, absolutely, in the very image of God, does the same thing. It's innate in every human being to desire to create a thing, to invent, to take something that's in our heads and then make it real so that you can taste it, see it, hear it, feel it, right? Whether you're sculpting something with your hands like Michelangelo's The David, right? That was a thing that started in his head. And I believe it, I know it took him years. I think it took him over a decade, but he sculpted it out of pure marble till it's a thing that every other person in the world can see, and it outlives him, right? It goes from the finite and the mortal almost borderlining into the eternal, because he made a thing from his hands and his head, and now it's outlived him. Michelangelo's dead and gone times 500 years, right? So whether it's painting, whether it's the chef that, I have a thing that I taste, that I want somebody else to taste what I taste, what I feel in my head, what I'm sensing, and then they can cook it for you and deliver it to you. I have this song that's in my head and I want to put it on paper and I want to play it, so that is a thing that mankind does because God did it first, because God envisioned a thing and made it. And in the very image of God, we do the same. And we try to take things that are in the moment, that are mortal because we are purely mortal, housed in flesh, and make them immortal in that we put them on paper. We erect them for those that build buildings and skyscrapers, and then they outlive us so that other people can experience what we experience in our head, right? That's my
Yeah.
that's my evidence for being made in the image of God.
I'm going to take that. I'm going to run with it, but let me
All yours
do
now.
a couple of things of correction, just so that we make sure that we're going apples to apples
Sure.
here. Okay, so you made a reference to man being mortal and being created out of nothing. Man is the only one of creation that is actually created out of something.
Correct. Out of the dust of the earth. I apologize.
He is formed out of the dust of the earth. And that's actually part. And then you went in and you said that man, the thing that makes us like God is, or that proves that we're in the image of God, is something that is intangible, that desire to want to create. And so it's something that's tangible, man, made out of tangible earth. But the likeness, where we are in the likeness of God, is in the intangibles. And you are absolutely right. But let's keep that comparison
Sure.
Rolling on.
Sure,
there.
that's fair.
Yeah. So anyway, and you are absolutely right. I would further that to say that man, whether he is in relationship with God or out of relationship with God, has the ability to, what you say, that desire to create, see the beauty, want to enjoy the beauty, and recreate that beauty in some way, shape, or form.
It's a direct imitation of what God did during the creation
Correct.
story.
So whether it be through song, whether it be through sculpting, whether it be through painting art, whether it be through writing of a beautiful story in order to get something across, whether it be through acting out something, man is very artistic, right down to the farmer and the way that he plants a field. There is a creative art to it. I mean, it crosses over so many areas. I've watched a plumber sweating in of copper pipes, and to see them do it, and boom, take that flux, heat it up, hit it with the solder, and just watch it form a perfect bead on the inside of that and seal up. I mean, that's an art.
You know what
that's
what I was going to say. It's literally a saying from the Department of the Redundancy Department, that when somebody elevates a skill to that level, what do we say about them? Oh, well, he's elevated it to an art form, right? Yeah.
He's elevated to an art form. And so you have that. Then you have, if a man, I keep going back to this because it does not matter, person who reveres God or wants to call themselves an atheist, the same thing happens when you talk about love. Doesn't matter if you acknowledge God or not, you have the ability to love. Our Bible tells us in 1 John chapter 4, God is love. Okay, so if you were to put that in a mathematical equation, on this side would be God. Let me do it the other way around for our listeners, since I'm in a reflective thing. On one side you would have God, on the other side you have the equal sign, love. God equals love, because is the word for equals. Right. You also have forgiving. You don't have to be God to forgive anybody, although I would say that there's a beautiful doctrine where you don't have the ability to give. If you are in Jesus Christ, God can give you the ability to forgive above and beyond yourself, because he is the greatest expression of forgiveness. But Christian, sinner, believer, atheist alike, you're in the God is quick, slow to anger, and quick to forgive. Yeah. Guess what everybody has the ability to do in the image of God? You have the ability to forgive. So there's just some things right off of the top. And then here's one a lot of people don't give much credence to, but humor comes from God. And one of the characteristics of man is to be able to laugh at things. Sure. I think God has a great sense of humor. I have a set of twins.
Yeah, and then I was going to point out too, just like with the ability to create something and it outlives you, the ability to love and forgive is also shows how we desire to outlive ourselves, because like through love and through forgiveness, you can commit acts that go above and beyond your lifespan.
So what you're saying is those things are eternal.
Right. And
Which
yeah.
is a characteristic of God.
Right.
Okay?
Because I mean, in
So-
scripture, it even says, greater love hath no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends. Like that's a very act born out of love, which is going to outlast
It's the greatest
your
act of
ability to breathe. Incredible.
Yeah, so there you go. We wrap it up. There are 3 characteristics that we brought out. Might be some more that shows that how we are in the image of God. Whether you believe in God or not, you have God-like characteristics.
And you were made
love, forgiveness, and the ability, the desire to want to create.
Hey, if you guys think of any more, go ahead and light up the comment section.
Absolutely.
Let us know. What
It's
you
definitely
think.
not an exhaustive list.
No, but those are some that we thought of. Hey, make sure you guys follow the link tree, like, subscribe, share the video, help us grow the channel, and we hope we see you guys back here next week on Common
Right here.
Freaking Sense.